All right. Welcome into this edition of the Gridiron Grubb podcast. So, as we get started here, I just want to remind you, don't forget to hit the follow sign on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And don't forget to get over to Gridiron Grubb and sign up for the Gridiron Grubb locker room email. You will receive insights throughout the week, mainly on Wednesdays. And you will get that all sent directly to your inbox when you join the Gridiron Grubb locker room. You will also, when you join the Gridiron Grubb locker room, be entered automatically to win 2 tickets to see your favorite team play a football game, regular season game that is. And that we will be holding a drawing on September 13th during the Monday night games. So get on over, subscribe to the email. For the 2021 season, we'll be giving those tickets away again on September 13th. So coming up around the corner here. And you'll be set. Get yourself a chance to win those tickets. So, moving on into the show today, I'm going to talk a little bit. First off, do a little quick hits, starting with Michael Thomas for New Orleans. Ended up having surgery on his ankle. And with this surgery, they're saying up to 4 months recovery time and maybe longer. I'm a little shocked that this happened now, because why would they? I don't understand why they waited till now to do it when they could have done it months ago. It's like something they should have cleaned up after the playoff loss to Tampa Bay. You would have think, a few weeks after that they would have cleaned this up. I think it's a bad decision. I don't know if that was his decision. Or doctor's decisions, but I think that really puts him out. It puts the Saints out. Puts them all in a tough position, because if he's looking to missing up to 4 months, that's at least 2 months into the season. I know they have their bye week 6. So we're looking at, he might miss half the season. Because he's going to come back. He's not going to, if he hasn't been working out and rehabbing and doing those things, it may take him a couple weeks to get going there. So, we're talking week 7, week 8, week 9, before he gets going. I don't know. I didn't see, obviously they're not going to give us that news, but why this wasn't done immediately after the offseason, because supposedly it is the ankle injury that was lingering from last season. So why they didn't immediately put him, put this surgery on the schedule following the season last year, I'm not really sure of. So, yeah, that one, I think that's going to hurt the Saints a little bit, obviously. But we'll get into that in a little bit in the rest of the show here. My next little quick hit, I want to talk about Davante Adams. Now he's having problems with the Packers. And I think this is kind of a package deal for the Packers. Obviously, they put out Aaron Rodgers, and now they're putting out Davante Adams. But I see him, that's his QB, and they've formed a bond, and I'm sure they've had their talks, and so I guess that would be where they're going with this, is that, they pissed Aaron off, and now that in turn has upset Davante. But I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. They wanted to do an extension for him. He didn't want to sign it, so, we'll see how that goes. He, he's a receiver, He's been top in this league, and a lot of people will say Aaron Rodgers made him. I don't think that's true either, because he makes some big plays for Aaron Rodgers when he's covered, and Aaron Rodgers is scrambling around and just throws the ball up, and Adams goes up and makes some plays a lot. So I wouldn't say that it's an all Aaron Rodgers show there that gives Adams his top 5 receiving, but of course that's going to help. I mean, that helps every receiver. There's no receiver going to be in the top of the league without a decent or at least really good quarterback. So I don't see that happening anyway. I feel like he may get himself a new contract somewhere else here soon, but again, I don't know what these guys, I don't know what's going on up in Packerland, but there's something foul. They can't get these guys. Nobody's wanting to sign contracts there, so I don't know if it's front office personnel or if it's just these players themselves. If they've, like I say, you got Rodgers and Adams getting together and, their teammates, and, they talk during the off season, so, excuse me, that may be a issue here, but who knows? We'll find out. The Aaron Rodgers thing is a little, I think he's kind of, he blew that himself. I understand he was bitter about the drafting of Love, but I don't know. He blew that, so I don't know how Devontae could come in and say, hey, I'm on Aaron's side. I don't know. I don't think it's a good deal. I think Aaron, he's going to have to come back there. You're going to have these two disgruntled guys playing all season. I don't know. This seems a little interesting to me. And then moving on to my final quick hit here. And that has to do with, we're moving into the college football ranks. And talk about the news that's been breaking over the last couple days here, which is UT, University of Texas, and OU, University of Oklahoma. It looks like it's pretty official. They're moving to the SEC. I guess this has been under the works for 6 months, but it's really been kept under wraps. No, but you haven't heard any leaks on this, so seems to be pretty official going on right now, which is crazy to me. The Big 12. I don't know if it's their top dogs that are causing all the problems, or if all these schools have been wanting to get out of there for so long. At first it was put on that it was UT's fault, Texas's fault, because they wouldn't give up their contract rights to the Longhorn Network or whatever these guys wanted to say. And I don't know, I think it makes for an interesting SEC. I think it's funny watching Big 12 fans from other teams say that, oh, look at UT and Oklahoma running. That's funny, because if they're running, they go to like the Mountain West Conference or something, or the ACC or something like that. They go to one of these conferences that they could totally dominate. So why would they go to the SEC if they were running from something? Money talks. The SEC's got a bunch of money. The Big 12 did too, but I don't know. There's something going on there at the Big 12 that these teams, these colleges haven't liked for a while. You lost Colorado, they lost Missouri, they lost Texas A&M, and now they're going to lose Texas and Oklahoma. That was like their top-notch schools going into this. So now you're going to have this, I don't know who they bring in that can make it stay a Power 5 conference. It now no longer looks like a Power 5 conference. And boy, I guess that's going to be SEC West. So you have like Georgia and LSU and UT and Oklahoma. That's even tougher than the Alabama side, isn't it? I mean, or are they going to now stick Georgia in the Alabama side? I don't know. It'd be interesting how they work that out in the SEC, but pretty interesting facts coming out today that it's pretty official, and then it had been in work, like I say, for 6 months. So for these guys at the Big 12, I don't know what that's going to look like. Like I say, it's I mean, yeah, you still have Baylor and TCU and Oklahoma State and Iowa State, but man, they've lost Nebraska. I could see that. I could see Nebraska coming back. I could actually see that. I could see them. They've been struggling where they're at right now in the Big Ten, and I could see them. Maybe coming back. Maybe coming back to the Big 12 and kind of a rebirth of a program there. I don't know. But I still don't know who the Big 12 is going to bring in to stay a Power 5 conference. It doesn't look good for them. They'd have to land some. Who's going to leave nobody's going to leave one of the other. You've lost all of your top teams that made you a Power 5 conference, so now I don't know what you do. And I'm sure you'll have teams, that are kind of the mid-top echelon there. The West Virginias, the TCUs, the Texas Techs, the Oklahoma State. We're already seeing Oklahoma. I think it was TCU, Texas Tech, and possibly Oklahoma State. There was one other in there. Already talking to the Pac-12. I could see the Pac-12, still in 4 of those teams. That way they have a 16-team league. I could totally see them doing that, getting 4 of those guys in there. I could see, maybe the Iowas and Iowa States, West Virginias. Maybe I don't know where they go. Maybe the like old school Big East reforms with you have Iowa State, West Virginia. I don't know what's going to happen there, but the Big 12, I don't see them surviving this. I see these other teams. That's going to be the break. I think that's the breaking point. You lose UT and Oklahoma. I think they move into different ranks here and move on different conferences. So, say you probably get 4 of them in the Pac-12. Maybe even like Iowa State, K-State. I don't know. Do they go Big Ten? I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's really going to get things screwy over the next few years again, how we kind of had, what was it, about 7 or 8 years ago when all these teams started making breaks from their conferences, trying to get in these Power 5 conferences. And it ruined some lower level leagues, but I think this split's actually going to help some of the lower level leagues, because I could see a few of these Big 12 guys that weren't, in the top echelons, because football drives this. And I know you have like KU with basketball, and you got some of these basketball schools in there, Baylor. But football's driving this, so I don't know, I think maybe a KU and a Baylor, they might be looking at it. Yeah, and I know this sounds crazy, but they might be looking at like a Mountain West Conference. I don't know what these schools are going to do. But Baylor, they could pull off the Pac-12. 2, maybe a Big Ten. Let's say maybe Big Ten takes in, 3 or 4 of the mid, to mid-top teams out of this conference. Baylor, Iowa State. I don't know. I guess we'd find out, right? Where these teams are going to go. But, well, actually, I keep saying Iowa, but Iowa's already in the Big Ten. I was meaning Iowa State, and I keep saying both. But Iowa State, I could see. I don't know how this is going to break down. It's just a little crazy, so we'll see how it unfolds over the next few seasons. But it's going to take a little while to clean up, and that's where I'm going to leave that at with my throwing Iowa in. Anyway, moving on. We'll move into some from that college aspect into the NFL camps opening up. So we've got some camps already open. Guys aren't really practicing with pads yet. I think they'll all wait till next week, getting a little run here and there with the Steelers and the Cowboys, and I think the Bucks and them can start on this weekend here. So see what happens here. But I think camp's going to get a little interesting now. So I'm going to go into this. Obviously, had the Cam Akers injury in Los Angeles, and that's going to be an interesting breakdown. Are they going to bring in a vet? You have McVay saying he's going to go with see how the younger running backs work out, but we'll see how that goes, because you do have Darrell Henderson, and I know he came in last year and ran pretty good for him. You got youngsters and Xavier Jones and then official rookie and Jake Funk, and I don't know, he could be a dark horse, Jake Funk. You go look at him, and I was reading up on him and looking into him because I'm like, where do these guys go? Might be an interesting little deal for him. He's been proving people wrong his whole career, and this could be his chance to shine. So maybe he does step up. Maybe they do stay away from signing one of the vets, and they end up having these young guys, fill the load for the season. But Akers, he's not coming back this year, so they're going to have to be on top of it, these youngsters. If they can do that, we'll see. Camp's going to tell a lot. Obviously, you have a list of vets out there right now, including Gurley, but I know he said he might be interested in going back to LA. I'm not sure. With McVay, a lot of guys that leave there don't seem too happy with him. So I don't know. I don't know if Gurley comes back. I don't know what type of relationship him and McVay have. It's kind of like the Patriots. When you're there, you like Belichick. When he gets rid of you, all of a sudden you don't like him. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But they may have to rely on some of these young guys going forward. Camp's going to be the decision on that. Can these guys separate from each other? Can they prove that they can do it as a little bit of a committee? And if not, you've got, they got Gurley and Peterson and, Le'Veon Bell's out there. I don't think he'll fit with McVay. Not with the way he's been talking about coaches and owners and things for years. I don't know. I think Le'Veon might be. I think he might have wrote his ticket out of all the towns. We'll see. But then, you still have Duke Johnson out there, and I could see him really fitting in that McVay offense. You have Henderson running the ball and bring in Duke and see what happens. So I think that might even be. I know everybody's kind of on the Gurley bandwagon because he's been there and he knows the offense. But Johnson's been in some offenses very similar, and I think as far as player-wise, I think he might fit the best mold in that system. With Henderson there, and obviously these other young guys see if they can prove themselves in the offseason. They obviously pretty much just landed a roster spot without having proved too much. So we'll see where that rolls. I think, again with McVay, I just think Johnson, Duke Johnson out there is their best option as far as what they need on that style of offense. I think he would fit great. But we'll see. We'll find out. These young guys can hook it up here in camps, but we'll find out obviously soon enough, starting this upcoming week. And then moving into my next camp is where we'd started this out with in quick hits, which was Thomas getting hurt. For the Saints, like where do they go? Are they gonna? I mean, they have already they don't have a lot of money to spend. I mean, they almost have nothing to spend. So everybody's like, oh, they got to go out and get a receiver. I think the only way they pick up somebody that can help this roster out is a trade. However, they do have Marquez Callaway, who he's built pretty good. He's got similar build to Michael Thomas, so he may be the guy they actually turn to and go to. Obviously, camp will find that out. But if they sign somebody, they'll sign somebody for pretty damn cheap. So, they'll have to either restructure contracts, move people. It's going to get interesting to see how this works out. Do they go with the youngsters, and bring those guys up to speed quick, because they're going to have to. They just super thin there. But again, there's not a lot of money to spend, so it's not like you can go out, even if they trade for a wide receiver, they're going to have to watch their P's and Q's on that. So that's my thought on it, was this would be a beautiful place for the Saints and Patriots to make a trade. Obviously, N'Keal Harry is on the block from New England. I think he would fit into the mold of Sean Payton's offense more than he does in New England. I don't think that I think it's necessarily one of those things where he would have a better... it would just work out better for both teams, right? So I think that you can get probably a little bit better trade, a draft pick trade, maybe a 5th or 4th out of New Orleans for him. And I don't think I don't think the Patriots are gonna get anywhere near that from another team. So I think that might be a place that obviously the Patriots would feel a little better about the trade. But then, you have N'Keal is also on his rookie contract. So, even though he was a first rounder, it's nothing huge. I think the Saints could work that magic around there and pull it off. Obviously, the Saints are in, there's a lot of talk about X-Man from the Dolphins going there. At cornerback. But again, I don't know how the Saints pull that off. Everybody's talking like this. They have no money. I mean, so now they're gonna get a cornerback and pay him make him the highest paid cornerback in the NFL, and then what do they do? So I don't know. It's very interesting to me, all of this talk that's been going on this week with the Saints. I think their main concern really is wide receiver, and everybody keeps talking about them getting cornerback from the Dolphins, right? And I don't know how they pull that off. I really don't. Salary cap wise, he's eating a big chunk out of Miami's right now, and he wants more. So how does he go to the Saints, a team that doesn't have even more to give, and then he puts them even more in the hole, and yet they're going to somehow pay him more money? So I don't know. I don't see how that trade works out unless they give up. They've got to give up something that already has a big contract. They got to give up Kamara. Are they willing to do that? I doubt it. I don't know. They'd have to give up a lot, I think, to get that, even player-wise. Not just picks, but players to get that done. And and then again, I'm like, I don't see why Miami would do any of that, because they have, again, why take on all those contracts when you could just up his salary a few $1 million and he'd be happy. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. But I think the Saints are in big trouble now for offensive receiver help. So I think that's where they're going to be focused. And I really think the N'Keal Harry, it makes a lot of sense to me there. Again, you get a guy who can come in, again, on a rookie contract and not, I think he can, I really do. I think he fits better into that mold of the system they run there. Patriots are always looking for, these guys that run these quick little routes. And then now they've had Cam Newton, and he's not the same as Tom Brady. I know N'Keal was there for Brady's last season, but, as a rookie in that system, it's tough in the first place. So, I don't know. I don't know where. I think the Patriots' best option is to them and the Saints to visit a trade deal there, bring N'Keal in. And if not, they're going to be going with Callaway and the little dude Harris. He's already going to be your slot guy anyway, so he's not going to be on the outside. I think he's only like 5'7", so I don't see, he's like maybe even 5'6". I don't think he's going to be taking over on one of those outside receiver spots. So we'll find out. I think their best deal is to go with an N'Keal Harry trade, and we'll see. Marquez Callaway there. We'll see if he can pull it off, but I don't know. We'll find out where they go. So now, last week I did I think 5 running backs that I scouted for the college ranks, and so today I'm going to do a couple QBs, and then the next episode I'll do some more QBs. But for this episode, college QBs to watch for 2021 season, and I'm going to start with the top 2 on everybody's list, as I wanted to kind of look into these guys. And so first I'm going to start with Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma. Dude's, his kid's 6'1". He's, you read anywhere, he runs anywhere from about 200 to 205 on the sheets. He looks good. He really does. A lot of people have him. They're saying number 1 draft pick and possible Heisman winner. Watching him, and again, this segment is not about knocking on kids. I don't know. He's got a quick release, so he's got a few inches on height as comparable to Kyler Murray. He definitely doesn't have the speed, so he can get around. They do run a little QB option with him, nothing special where it's like all the time and it's like this dual threat quarterback, but he can move. Watching his film, when he needs to, he breaks pocket, he runs, and they do run some QB option with him. Not as much, obviously, as Kyler Murray, so he's not this full-fledged two-threat quarterback, dual threat, but he is good. Definitely, he's got that almost that same flick of the wrist as Kyler Murray has, and even Jackson up in Baltimore, right? They got this little flick of the wrist, and that ball gets out. It's quick, and it can go far. So these guys that have that quick release, they look good. And so, last year, the 2020 stats, Rattler, he threw for 3,031 yards. He had 28 TDs and only 7 interceptions. So, obviously a pretty, number-wise, pretty good-looking season. I don't have doubts about him as far as his skill set. He'll be playing at Oklahoma this year, so he'll be playing tough competition. He'll be making the throws. He throws off he can throw off the back foot with accuracy. He looks good. He's, the quick release, like I said. Where I like him, he reminds me of Tua Tagovailoa, where he's great moving out of the pocket, gets his shoulders square, throws. He's really, really, really good on the move. Inside the pocket, it was tough to tell. The reason it was tough to tell, all the game film I watched, when he was in the pocket and he threw, he was accurate, but his receivers, everybody was wide open, and I mean wide open, in a lot of the film I watched. So he did make some really good throws across the middle, but it's just hard to tell right now. That's why I want to watch him this season, because it was really tough to tell watching game film on him when he did throw from the pocket that he wasn't on the move, throw into these guys that were wide open. So can he stay in the pocket and make it happen? I don't know. The NFL game's evolving, so it's not a necessity anymore. Like I say, he reminds me of Tua when he busts out of the pocket, or he steps up and he moves to the outside, or they even move the pocket for him, and he throws. He's very accurate when he does it. So as I say, the kid looks really good, as far as that. As far as accuracy, throwing on the move, throwing on the run, I just got to see a little more from inside pocket presence. Obviously, watching him in Oklahoma, again, their offensive line, I've talked about this even with the running back. So their offensive line just dominates. And then I'm watching this, and the receivers are wide open. So we'll see where it goes. Can he make some plays from inside the pocket? Because in the NFL, he's going to have to do that. But he's also a smaller guy. So I know he's 6'1", but, a 200 frame. He's going to be coming into the NFL. That's going to be a pretty small frame for a quarterback. But again, I'm not going to knock on the kid, because he made some really, really amazing plays that I watched. And there was a few, don't get me wrong, there was a few where he stayed in the pocket, he stepped up. Like I said, the problem that I saw was, instead of him stepping up through the pocket and throwing, a lot of it was him kind of rolling to the outside and throwing. So we'll see. Can he play a little pocket game? You got to be able to do it in the NFL. And if you can't, what happens is you can be special like Michael Vick, but once teams learn that you like to roll to your left like Michael Vick did, they start keying on that, and it costs you in the long run. And as they start to learn this game film on you, what can you do? So that's what I'm looking at from him. Again, special. He's definitely a special talent. He's winning at Oklahoma just like the other guys did before him in Mayfield and Kyler Murray. So, they have the coaching that's going on there that's building these quarterbacks. So, yeah, he's going to come out. He's going to be good. Again, just my little critique of, I'd like to see more throws when he fits them in there if they're contested, tight windows. Because last year, and it's not a knock on him. I mean, their offense is rolling and they're doing good. So, what the hell? He can't be mad because the kid's got wide open receivers to throw to. But I did see there's a lot of kind of throwing off his back foot, which worries me at the NFL level. He gets kind of rolling backwards and he throws off that back foot. And I know Kyler Murray's been doing that this last year, but it also ended up in some interception. Once you get in the NFL, it's just a different game. These guys are faster. Their makeup speed's faster. So some of these throws I saw on film for Rattler were, they got to the receivers. But like I say, you probably got to cut about 4 or 5 steps for that cornerback, is going to get there about 4 or 5 steps quicker than they are in the college level. So some of these throws he was throwing off his back foot worried me. But don't get me wrong, he had the arm strength to get him there. But yeah, he looks good. He really does. I don't know if he comes out as the Heisman Trophy winner. And I don't know if he goes as the first round pick, because the second guy I'm going to talk about, I don't know if he wins the I think maybe Rattler gets the Heisman, maybe, as the hype train rolls. Because that one's more of a good player plus great PR. That's what wins you the Heisman, is your is how the media takes to you. So, I don't know. He's great. Don't get me wrong. But watching, when I was comparing these two quarterbacks, because the second guy I'm going to talk about, Sam Howell at North Carolina, he's 6'1", but he's 225, stout. He manipulates and moves. I mean, my first impressions were wow as I started watching highlights. Again, Rattler, very good, very impressive. But when I started watching Sam Howell at North Carolina, I literally was blown away. I mean, I was going, wow. I couldn't even believe what I was watching. Now, he had 3,586 yards and 30 TDs with 7 interceptions last year, and playing at North Carolina. So I know Mac Brown came in there and changed that system around, but that's those yards, that's pretty damn impressive in the college arena for for as many games as they play, right? So they don't play as many in the NFL. That's up there with NFL quarterbacks, as many games as they play in the season. So, that's walking bottom line in an NFL team. So I was really shocked, not just from his stats though, because the kid knows how to step up in the pocket. He knows how to move the pocket himself. Kind of like if you watch Brady, that's what I was watching. I was watching a kid who could manipulate the pocket, manipulate the pass rush, step up, buy an extra 2 or 3 seconds, hit receivers downfield. His arm accuracy blew me away down the field. When Josh Allen was coming out, I looked at Josh Allen and I went, this kid's going to be incredible. In fact, in one of my dynasty leagues, I made damn sure I drafted him his rookie season. And he wasn't all the talk, right? He was going to be good. But when I watched Josh Allen throw in the Senior Bowl, go watch his Reese's Senior Bowl. Watch him drop those dimes in on the sideline on those deep passes and across the middle. And that's what I was seeing from Howell. When I was watching this kid throw, I went, whoa. I mean, it's amazing. And the way he moves the pocket, like, he doesn't move outside the pocket. He does just like Tom Brady does. He steps up, he steps through the traffic, allows his linemen to even, when you do that, you allow your linemen to be able to, reconnect on their blocks. And now you have another wall built behind you, and it buys you anywhere from another 2 to 3 to 4 seconds. And when you got NFL receivers running around, just look at Tom Brady. That's his success right there. Manipulating that pocket, moving around in the pocket, but keeping the pocket formed around him. And ask those offensive linemen how much they love that. They love it. They that's what they want. They want you to step up. When you start moving outside the pocket and you start scrambling around like that, they either end up getting holding calls, especially the tackles, as these guys break from them and try to move laterally, chasing quarterbacks. And then you also get the illegal men downfield because they think you're running. So linemen love it when you can manipulate and move a pocket and you stay within that realm of, you're basically inside the tackle boxes and you just move that pocket around with that. And Hal is damn good at that, even at the college level, just watching him. And he super smart, moving the pocket, manipulating the pocket, and then going through the motions, finding his, working his progression, and sometimes even coming back to his number one receiver down the field. He had Diami Brown, obviously draft pick this season for the not Redskins, but Washington football team, and he made the plays. He really did, with his arm and manipulating that pocket around. It's highly impressive. Watch some film on him, see what he does. So he had that, but then he also had watching he makes sure a receiver catches the ball in stride. It didn't matter if it was a 10-yard slant, 20-yard post, straight fly pattern. Everybody was catching the ball on the run. I mean, perfect instep on the run. That blew me away for a college quarterback. Even when if you watch Rattler, even when he's throwing to these guys that are wide open, they're sometimes waiting on the ball. And it just how really impressed me watching this film. If I was a coach at this moment, and I was a guy doing the draft, he would be my top pick. If I needed a quarterback next season, that's just coming out of, obviously we haven't had this season, we haven't got to watch these guys, they've had another off season to develop, so this is just me at this point. But that would be the kid I draft. He really would. Just watching him move, manipulate, step up, throw, everything tracks into the receiver's hands, where they're on the move. Again, whether it was an in pattern, an out pattern, a fly pattern, a post pattern, it didn't matter. It did not matter. He was hitting them in stride, and these guys were they were making big plays for him. Watching Javonte Williams and even Michael Carter, they got a lot of accolades coming out, right? And a lot of they were like, oh, these guys, both of them did really well out of the backfield, catching the ball. Well, that was because of their quarterback. He was hitting these guys in stride. These guys were running bow and arrow routes out of the backfield, these Texas routes, and he'd move the pocket. He'd manipulate the pocket, throw the ball, hit Javonte Williams. I saw a couple different touchdowns from him where it was all because the quarterback led him through the gap of players. I mean, it was incredible. He really, 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 really looked solid, and I enjoyed watching his game film. I think he's going to be, so you dynasty players, go ahead and watch him this season. Even if he falls in the draft, kind of like Josh Allen did, right? Everybody's like, Josh Allen was at Wyoming, so he wasn't playing all this real big competition, and there was knocks on him because, he was going to take some years to mature, and now look what's happened. And I'm just telling you, with this kid, I don't think he'll take, because he's playing high-level competition higher than you do at Wyoming. Howell is obviously playing at North Carolina, so he's playing higher competition, but he was showing something. I mean, these were some, it was Notre Dame, the highlights I saw. There was, there was other big schools. There were top 10 schools that North Carolina played, and I went, okay, this kid, he's doing that against top competition. Florida State, I mean, he was doing it, and so you can't take that away from him. Not that obviously Rattler at Oklahoma is playing top level competition as well. So, but I just really liked what I saw from Hal. He had something, just his deep accuracy, it just blew me away. Going, wow, last year this kid was a sophomore in college, just hitting this accuracy like that, reading the field. By the way, reading, manipulating the pocket, moving the safety, hitting a deep ball, and killing it. And so, yeah, he really, I was highly impressed with what I saw from him. And other than that, I'm going to go ahead and call it on the show today. I don't have any super final thoughts. I'm happy for Griffin signing at the Miami Dolphins, the linebacker that came over from Seattle. That kid's always impressed me since he was at Central Florida. to do what he does with one hand. He has obviously two arms, but the one hand to play the position he plays, it's amazing. It really blows my mind, and I'm excited that he got to stay in the NFL and signed with the Dolphins. So congratulations to him. And other than that, I'm going to end the show for today. But before we leave, don't forget to follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on YouTube if you want. Don't forget to follow me at Gridiron Grubb on Twitter. And get over to the gridirongrub.com and sign up for the locker room email. And get yourself a chance to win those 2 tickets. Not only will you receive emails each week with detailed player analysis and all the things to help you make your decisions during the week as far as fantasy and maybe bets and prop bets, however you feel about it. But you'll get a chance to win 2 tickets to see your favorite football team play, whether they're college or pro. So get out there, get over, get those things done. And other than that, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. All right. Welcome into this edition.